जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम बलराम जय जय निताई गौरंग जय निताई गौरंग जय निताई गौरंग प्रभुपाद जो विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर Divine Grace of Chరణारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता यथा रूप की जय। दाई गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Standard 9. 10.9. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 10 and text number 9. Okay, so please repeat after me. Macchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayanta shamam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Macchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayanta shamam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. One more time we'll recite. Macchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayanta shamam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Macchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayanta shamam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. I'll read the translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are surrendered to me, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss, enlightening one another and conversing about me. Please repeat the translation. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are surrendered to me, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss, enlightening one another and conversing about me. I'll just read the purport. Please pay attention and then we'll have the discussion. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Pure devotees whose characteristics are mentioned here engage themselves fully in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Their minds cannot be diverted from the lotus feet of Krishna. Their talks are solely on the transcendental subjects. The symptoms of the pure devotees are described in this verse specifically. Devotees of the Supreme Lord are 24 hours daily engaged in glorifying the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Their hearts and souls are constantly submerged in Krishna, and they take pleasure in discussing Him with other devotees. In the preliminary stage of devotional service, they relish the transcendental pleasure from the service itself, and in the mature stage, they are actually situated in love of God. Once situated in that transcendental position, they can relish the highest perfection which is exhibited by the Lord in His abode. Lord Chaitanya likens transcendental devotional service to the sowing of a seed in the heart of the living entity. There are innumerable living entities traveling throughout the different planets of the universe, and out of them, there are few who are fortunate enough to meet a pure devotee and get the chance to understand devotional service. This devotional service is just like a seed, and if it is sown in the heart of a living entity, and if he goes on hearing and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That seed fructifies. Just as the seed of a tree fructifies with regular watering. The spiritual plant of devotional service gradually grows and grows until it penetrates the covering of the material universe and enters into the Brahmajyoti effulgence in the spiritual sky. In the spiritual sky also, that plant grows more and more until it reaches the highest planet, which is called Goloka Vrindavana, the supreme planet of Krishna. Ultimately, the plant takes shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna and rests there. Gradually, as a plant grows fruits and flowers, that plant of devotional service also produces fruits, and the watering process in the form of chanting and hearing goes on. This plant of devotional service is fully described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is explained there that when the complete plant takes shelter under the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, one becomes fully absorbed in love of God. Then he cannot live, even for a moment, without being in contact with the Supreme Lord, just as a fish cannot live without water. In such a state, the devotee actually attains the transcendental qualities in contact with the Supreme Lord. The Srimad Bhagavatam is also full of such narration about the relationship between the Supreme Lord and his devotees. Therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam is very dear to the devotees. In this narration, there is nothing about material activities, sense gratification, or liberation. Srimad Bhagavatam is the only narration in which the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord and his devotees is fully described. Thus, the realized souls in Krishna consciousness take continual pleasure in hearing such transcendental literatures, just as a young boy and a young girl take pleasure in association. Thus in the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Bracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashad Deshadarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So we are discussing this very important verse from the 10th canto, 10th chapter, text number 9, which is also the part of the Chatur Shloki Bhagavad Gita. So this is 10.9, wherein Krishna is explaining one very important principle here. Machita madgata prana bodhiyantasya parasparam katyantasya mam nityam tushyanticha ramanticha. So in this particular verse, Krishna is explaining the characteristic of a pure devotee. How a devotee should be, what should be his consciousness, what should be his thought process, what should be his absorption. So we can understand from this particular verse. So it is explained here, the thought of my pure devotees dwell in me. So you see the word machitta. Chitta means the consciousness or mind. Fully mat chittaha, mind is fully engaged in me. But if you see in the translation, Prabhupada writes, the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. What it means? Very beautifully Prabhupada explains this. Thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Dwell means, like if you can ask someone, where do you dwell? Like where do you live? Right? So where does the thoughts of a pure devotee live? In me. Machittaha. So actually, in other words, we can say that a devotee or pure devotee makes Krishna as his inner home. Where does his thoughts live? In Krishna. So Krishna becomes the house where pure devotees' thoughts they live. So we all have our inner homes, small tiny homes. Somebody is into some politics, sports, Bollywood, Hollywood. That is where our thoughts lives. As you get a little free, You go watch something, some news, what is happening in politics, what is happening in Hollywood, Bollywood, sports, or it can be anything like that, right? But here, Krishna is explaining the thoughts of my pure devotees dwells in me. So Krishna becomes the inner home for a pure devotee, right? So here, two, three things we have to take the note of. Different faculties. So Krishna is explaining here. Machitta. First thing is about the mind, where your mind should be. So Krishna is saying Machittaha. The mind of a pure devotee, thoughts of a pure devotee is always in me. Second one is Matgata Pranaha. Not only just mind, but your complete self. Matgata Pranaha. Prana is refers to like your life itself or your entire body. Everything about yourself is into Krishna or it is meant for Krishna. So not only just your mind or your consciousness, but your complete self, your complete existence is in the service of Krishna. Matchitta Madgata Prana. So whole existence is offered to Krishna. So pure devotee's life is all about Krishna, in the service of Krishna. Right? There's nothing else. And what they do? Bodhyantasya parasparam. So everybody is doing bodhyanta. Bodh means bodhyantasya parasparam. Katyantasya mam nityam. Everybody is all congregating together, talking something. You see, nobody likes to be alone. They want some friends, some relatives, some family members. And that is how you see people on the weekends, they plan to go to somebody's house or some party. So apart from eating something and all that, people just chit chat. They want to talk something. So we all are invariably doing bodhyantasya parasparam. We're all talking. The question is what we are talking versus what a pure devotee of Krishna is talking. We all are doing bodhyantasya parasparam. So here Krishna explains Machitta Madgata Prana Bodhyantasya Parasparam Katyantasya Mam Nityam. So the pure devotees, they always talk about Krishna Katha. Katyantasya Mam Nityam. Not like once in a while, once in a week, on Sunday afternoon, and sit in the class, we talk about Krishna. But Mam Nityam. Always their thoughts dwell in Krishna. They don't know anything but Krishna. So that is the characteristic of a pure devotee, which has been described here. And by doing that, what happens? Somebody say, oh no, but yeah, we can do that, but how does it benefit me? What would I get out of that? If I keep talking all the time about Krishna, then what happens? So it says, Katyantasya mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Two things happens. One thing is tushyanti. Just by talking about Krishna, discussing about Krishna, then there's a lot of satisfaction comes in the heart. Tushyanti. And also not satisfaction, but that gives pleasure. Ramanti cha. So they always enjoy, they relish, they feel satisfaction just by talking about Krishna. So that is what this verse is talking about here. Bodhyantasya parasparam machitta madgata prana. So that is what we should aspire, that how we can absorb our consciousness, like Kunti Maharani, the famous verse in the prayers of Kunti Maharani says, Mai te ananya vishya matir madhupate sakrit. So she is saying ananya vishya, like there should not be any other subject for my consciousness, only Krishna. So she prays that Gange Vaga Mudanvati, like the Ganga constantly flowing towards the sea without any disruption, interruption. Similarly, my consciousness should be, my attention should be constantly drawn unto you, my dear Lord. That is what is my prayer. So that is how the pure devotees, they pray. What they want from the Lord, that my attention, my absorption should be constantly flowing towards you. And by doing that, they are tushyanti cha ramanti cha. They derive a lot of satisfaction and they enjoy the relish. Now when we are talking about this, bodhyantasya parasparam, talking about Krishna, what it means talking about Krishna, how do we talk about Krishna? So Prabhupada explains there are two ways, or when we say katyantasya, Krishna Katha, so there are two kinds of Krishna Katha. One Krishna Katha is the words spoken by Krishna. What is that? Bhagavad Gita, which we are discussing. So that is Krishna Katha. That Krishna has spoken something. So you read, you hear, you discuss, share with each other, and discuss, try to understand. And like that, you can absorb your consciousness into Krishna Katha. So that is Katyantasya Mam Nityam. So this is one way of Krishna Katha. And actually, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gives one very important instruction where he says, Yara dekhe tare kaho Krishna Upadesh. So this Krishna Upadesh is also Krishna Katha. So wherever you go, whomever you meet, whenever you get any opportunity, Yare dekho tare kaho Krishna Upadesh. First you hear the Upadesh and then go and speak to others. Share with others. That I went to the temple, I heard this one words, something, some story, and then go and share with others. So that way you are Katyantasya Mam Nityam. You are absorbed in Krishna Katha. So that is one kind of Krishna Katha. And another kind of Krishna Katha. What is the another kind of Krishna Katha? The second one? Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the words spoken about Krishna. One is words spoken by Krishna, spoken about Krishna. So this is also a conversation between Parikshit Maharaj and Shukdev Goswami, we all know. So the devotees are always absorbed in talking about this kind of Krishna Katha, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and similar such literatures like Ramayana, Mahabharata. So that is one of the characteristic of a pure devotee. So Chaitanya Charitamrita explains there are 26 characteristics of a pure devotee. So what we are reading today is also characteristic of a pure devotee. Machitta, Madgata Prana, Katyantasya, Mam Nityam. So one of the characteristics of a pure devotee is mentioned is he is a Mauni. Mauni means he is always silent. So pure devotee means he is always silent. But we see Prabhupada, he is a pure devotee, but he is not silent. He always keep talking, keep giving the lectures. So Prabhupada explains, Mauni means, generally people think Mauni means he should not talk anything. But the true meaning of being silent is not talking anything other than Krishna. So he refrains, a pure devotee refrains himself from talking anything which is not in connection with Krishna, but he loves to talk always, constantly, 24 hours about Krishna. So that is one of the characteristics of the Mauni, the pure devotee. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, this very beautiful verse which explains that how a pure devotee is. So this verse says, Yatra tamashloka gunanuvada prastuyate gramya katha vigataha nisevyamano anudinam mumokshor matim satim yachati vasudeve. So this particular verse explains a pure devotee is Yatra uttama shloka gunanuvada. Yatra means where, the place where. Uttama shloka. Who is Uttama shloka? Actually, Uttama shloka is one of the name of Krishna. What is the meaning of Uttama shloka? Say loud. Yes. Uttama shloka means one who is praised by the best of the words, the choicest poetry. So Lord actually deserves to be glorified by the best of the words. So he is also known as Uttama shloka. So this verse in the Bhagavatam, it explains it is in the 5th canto. It says, Yatra Uttama shloka gunanuvadat. Yatra means where. Uttama shloka about Krishna. Gunanuvadat. Vada means discussion, talking. So where there is a discussion about Uttama shloka guna, Krishna's qualities, Krishna's pastime, Krishna's leela, then prastuyate. Prastuyate means this all Krishna anuvadat, Uttama shloka guna anuvadat is presented. Then gramya katha vigataha. In that place, there is no opportunity for what? For gramya katha. There is no opportunity there to talk anything which is mundane, which is worldly. So that is the only way that how we can refrain ourselves from talking which is all worldly things, by talking about Krishna. Yatra uttama shloka gunanuvadat prastuyate gramya katha vigataha. So when you constantly keep talking about Krishna, then there is no opportunity, there is no time for talking about gramya katha. Nisevyamano anudinam mumukshor. And somebody who hears very attentively about that Krishna Katha, the discussion about the glories, the pastimes of Krishna, then anudinam. Anudinam means daily, not like once in a while on weekends, Saturdays, Sundays, but anudinam. What is the equivalent verse in the Bhagavatam which talks about anudinam, daily hearing? We quotes every time. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So this hearing should happen every day. People think, okay, hearing means Saturday, Sunday when we go to temple. Other days we are too busy. But it should be Nisevyamano Anudinam. If you keep constantly every day hearing about this Uttama Shloka Gunanuvadat, then what happens? Matim Satim Yachati Vasudeva. Your mati, your consciousness, by constant hearing and constant absorption, then gradually it becomes fixed. It turns toward Vasudeva. So that is the power of hearing about Krishna. Just by hearing about Krishna, you develop attraction towards Krishna. So that is why it is very, very important that one should hear, one should discuss. Machitta madagata prana bodhyandasya parasparam. When you all come together, find some opportunity to discuss something, share something. Katyandasya maam nityam. And by doing that, tushyanti cha ramanti cha. And there's no time. So Prabhupada actually very beautifully writes in that purport. He says, the symptoms of a pure devotee are described in this verse. The pure devotee is never interested in material topics. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has strictly prohibited his devotees to talk about worldly matters. So one of the disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was, the prominent disciples were 6 Goswamis, and one of that Goswami was Raghunath Das Goswami. And Raghunath Das Goswami's story is very, very inspiring. He was a son of a very rich father and he was the only son. His father was a rich jamindar in those days, like they're big people. And then somehow this Raghunath Das Goswami is the only son and he got fascinated, he got attracted towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in a very young age. And he decided that, I'll join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I don't want to be in like regular life in my family and all that. But he was the only son, rich father. So the father will not let him go like that. So he just escaped, he ran away. And then father was little influential, wealthy also. So then he managed to catch him back and brought him back. So like that, this Raghunath Das Goswami, he ran away from his house to join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 17 times. He was so determined. Every time he goes, and because father was very rich and influential, so he'll manage to catch him every time. 17 times. So initially when he ran away a few times and then he caught him back, then somebody, gave the suggestion that, he is running away again and again and he's not stopping. So maybe you should tie him. Say, how to tie him? He said, you should get him married. Then that will the greatest tie. Once he get married, then he can't escape. He said, oh wow, it's a good idea. So they got him married, but he ran away again. Right. So he was very, very determined. Anyway, we are not getting in his story, but I'm making a very important point here. So what happens? Later he managed to go and join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was staying in Jagannath Puri. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also in Jagannath Puri for many, many years. Raghunath Das Goswami, he was living a very austere life, not eating properly and like opulent food and all of that. Now, interesting part of the whole thing is, he stayed in Jagannath Puri for 18 years, this Raghunath Das Goswami. And he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only once in 18 years. Met means he could talk to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only once in 18 years. So one time he developed the desire that, I've been living for a long time here, and the intense desire was, strong desire was that I want to talk to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I gave up my family life, everything. But I don't know, I don't have the direction what I should do. So what should be my duty? So I should go and talk to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and ask him this question, that I have given up everything and what should be my duty. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Raghunath Das Goswami came and joined him, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appointed one of his personal servant, Swarupa Damodar. And he says, Swarupa Damodar, this Raghunath Das Goswami is under your custody. You have to take care, you have to guide him, and you have to take care of him. So one time, this Raghunath Das Goswami having that desire, he expressed his desire to Swarupa Damodar that I want to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and talk to him. So he goes and he says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this Raghunath Das Goswami, he want to come and meet you and talk to you something. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled. He said, why you want to talk to me? I already appointed you for his spiritual advancement. So whatever questions, whatever guidance he needs, you should be the only single point of contact. He should talk to you. So then Swarupa Damodar being little kind and he said, no, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you should also consider his request. At least one time you should meet. So then there is a meeting between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Raghunath Das Goswami. And in that meeting, he expressed that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given up my life. I don't know what I should be doing. So tell me what is my duty. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in that conversation, there's only one conversation. In that conversation he says, first he smiles and he says, why you are coming and asking me all those things? You should go and ask Swarupa Damodar. He knows more than me. So actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching by his personal example that there's something called Maryada. So when you are put under, especially in the spiritual path, when you are put under someone as an authority, then don't try to cross over the authority. Then no, I don't want to talk to this person. I directly want to talk to the top person. Something like that. This is not the etiquette in the spiritual life. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally by his example is teaching, setting the right examples. But now anyway he is talking. So he says, anyway you have come to me and you are talking to me and you want to know that what should be your duty. Here is my instruction. What is the instruction? He says, Gram mein katha na sunibe, gram mein varta na kahibe. Bhala na khaibe, bhala na paribe. That was the only instruction he gave. What does this mean? Says, Gram mein katha na sunibe. Never ever allow yourself to listen to all these worldly mundane topics. Gram mein katha. So what the whole world is now absorbed in Gram mein katha. Social media and everywhere. What is happening in Hollywood and Bollywood, in politics. Somebody's breakup, somebody's patch up, and all of that kind of news. People are so consumed by all those stuff. So here is the instruction by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through Raghunath Das Goswami for all of us. It says, Gram mein katha na sunibe. Don't listen. Gram varta na karibe. Not only just listen, don't talk also. And then bhala na khaibe, bhala na paribe. As a mendicant, you should not eat a very opulent food, and also don't dress yourself very opulently. That is not for grasthas. He was a renounced person, so for him. But yes, first one definitely applicable to everyone. Gram mein katha na sunive, gram mein varta na karive. So that is what we are talking here today. What Krishna is saying, my pure devotees, they are katyantasya mam nityam dushyanti cha ramandij. They are not doing gram mein katha, but they are always doing Krishna katha. Right? So that is the understanding. And when we do this, Krishna katha, what happens? So you see the flow of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Shukdev Goswami explains all the 9 cantos, and when it comes to the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is exclusive about Krishna pastime, Krishna Leela. So before he start narrating this Krishna Leela, he quotes this very famous verse, very, very important verse. Says, Nivrattatarshe rupigiya manas bhavashada shrota manobhiramat kauttama shloka gunanuvadat puman virajye dhabina pashugnat. So he explains what is this Krishna Katha is. What does it do to you when you absorb yourself in Krishna Katha? And also it explains from whom we should hear this Krishna Katha. Nowadays, with the help of technology, sometimes people get a little inclined towards hearing about that. Okay, we should hear Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. They go to YouTube, type something. There's some 1,000 option comes. And something, which seems to very fascinating title. Something like how to become God in just 6 months. And immediately you click on that. Without understanding that who is the speaker, what is his authenticity. Randomly we just keep clicking on the things and keep listening. That is not the way to hear the subject. So that is why we should be very, very careful and conscious how to listen. So here Shukdev Goswami, before he start to narrate the Krishna Katha, he warns. He says, Nivratta Tarsher. The person who recites, who speaks this Krishna Katha should be Nivratta Tarshar. He should be completely freed from all the Trishna. Trishna means materialistic desires. So there should be only just one Trishna. Trishna for Krishna. There should not be any other desire. So one who is Nivratta Tarshar, completely free from worldly desires, then that person speaks Ubgiya Manad. When he talks about Krishna, then that hearing, it acts like Bhava that acts like a medicine. What medicine? Bhava Aushadhi. Aushadhi means medicine. And why do we need the medicine? When somebody is sick, somebody is diseased. So are we diseased? Why do we need the medicine? So yes, scriptures actually guides us. We are all diseased. And what is our disease? There might be some other diseases, some viral, some COVID. That is not the disease that Bhagavatam is talking. Bhagavatam is talking about the disease which you don't have any cure in this world. And that is called the Bhavarog. That we are stuck here in this material existence, in the repeated cycle of birth, death, old age and disease. Punarapi janma, punarapi marana, punarapi janni jatreshana. So you are taking birth, dying, again you are taking the womb of another mother, and that cycle is continually going on since time immemorial. So this is called the Bhavarog. So how to come out from this cycle, this Bhavarog? So you need the Aushadhi. And that Aushadhi is Bhava Aushadhat. So what is that Aushadhi? This Krishna Katha, when it is heard from a person who is Nivratta Tarshai, completely free from any personal motivation, any agenda, any materialistic desires, a pure devotee. Bodhyandasya Barasparam, Machitta Madgata Prana. That kind of a person, when you hear, then it is Bhava Aushadhat. And also, generally the Aushadhi is very bitter. Like when you take the medicine, it is not very pleasing, right? But this Aushadhi is very special. It's not bitter pill. It is Bhava Aushadha Shrot Mano Viramat. It is Aviramat. It gives a lot of pleasure. Only to the tongue. First of all, this medicine has to be taken through the ears. It is not inserted through the tongue. Krishna Katha goes through the ears. And the nature of this medicine is Bhava Aushadhat Mano Viramat. It is very pleasing to the mind and to the heart. So when you hear Krishna Katha, you naturally derives a lot of pleasure. And that is what this verse is talking today. Katyantasya mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. They derive a lot of pleasure. So when somebody hears Bhava Aushadha Shrota Mano Viramat, so you derive a lot of pleasure. Ka uttam shloka gunanuvadat. Same thing. Uttam shloka gunanuvadat. Whenever you hear, then it acts like a Bhava Aushadhat. And it is Manobhiramat. It is very pleasing to the mind and to the heart. And then he says, Puman Virajeta Vina Pashugnat. Who would not pay attention? Who would not hear this Krishna Katha? Except one who is very determined to commit suicide. That person will only not take interest in this Krishna Katha. What kind of suicide it is? It is spiritual suicide. If somebody is not interested in spiritual life, that person will not pay attention to all this. Otherwise, everyone should pay attention. Listen this Krishna Katha, which is like a Bhava Aushadhat and Manobhiramat. But hear from whom? Very, very important. Nivratta Tarshar. Hear from the person who is completely free from all the materialistic desires. Right. So one should be very, very careful. So Prabhupada explains in the first kind of Srimad Bhagavatam. So the Bhagavatam has to be heard. Bhagavatam is Krishna Katha. It should be heard through a person Bhagavat. The book Bhagavat has to be heard from a person Bhagavat. So we should learn that who is a person Bhagavat, who is Nivratta Tarshar. He is the qualified person. And actually Sanatana Goswami, to corroborate this very fact, he quotes from Padma Puran, another very important verse. He says, Avaishnavad mukhod girnam putam hari katamratam shravanam neva kartavyam sarpochista yathapaha. So what Sanatana Goswami is saying, Vaishnavad Mukhod Girnam, one who is not a devotee, one who is not a Vaishnava, one who is not a devotee of Krishna, Vaishnava, one who is a Vaishnava, then Harikatha, don't listen. Shravanam Neva Kartavyam, don't listen from that person. Why? This example is given that Katha, that Krishna Katha will be like Sarpochista. Sarp Uchishta means when a milk touched by a poisonous snake, would you take that milk? Anybody is daring? You might say, no, 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 but milk is very healthy, very nutritious. Yes, that's true. But when it is touched by a snake, yes, all the nutrition value is still there, but it is added some poison also now. You cannot take that milk. So similarly, all this Krishna Katha, Gita, Bhagavatam, it is very, very nutritious for our spiritual well-being. But when if it touched by snake-like people, who are these people? Those who have some mundane agendas behind. Especially, Prabhupada actually explains, especially professional reciters, those who come and talk about Bhagavad Sapta and all of that, paid. The charge. These kind of people, they are considered sarp, like the poisonous snake. It is strictly forbidden to hear from such people, this Krishna Katha. Those still maintain the materialistic desire and they make it as a business that we will come and do some Krishna Katha, some Bhagavad Katha, Bhagavad Sapta. This is our charges, pay us. And of course, it's a very detailed subject that why somebody is charging. For what, how they are using that money. That is also important, we have to see. But yeah, one should not listen from a person who is not nivratta tarshar, who is not free from materialistic desires still, and is talking. So one should be very, very careful that how we listen, from whom we listen, and that is what is. So this Krishna Katha is very satisfying. It is like Bhava Aushadat. It helps one to come out, to get rid from this cycle of repeated birth and death. There's no other way. There's no other medicine that we can really, break through this cycle of repeated birth and death. But the Bhagavatam actually guides us that we should listen from a person who is a Nivrattu Darshar. Okay, I'll just close with one or two more additional points here. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that Lord Chaitanya likens transcendental devotional service to the sowing of a seed in the heart of the living entity. So when we hear this Krishna Katha, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calls it, as soon as you come, you hear from a person who is a Nivratta Tarshar, or people, those who are coming in that line of Nivratta Tarshar, then immediately there is a seed is sown into your heart. And that seed is called the Bhakti Lata Bij. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quotes this verse, Brahmand Brahmite Kaun Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Bij. So this bij, this seed of bhakti is very, very rare. Brahmand Brahmite, go to the entire universe top to bottom. Kaun Bhagyavan Jeev. There's a very rare soul who by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Bij. By the mercy of Guru and Krishna, one gets this bij, this Bhakti Lata Bij. Just by hearing Krishna Katha from a bona fide source, from Nivratta Tarshe Parampara, then there is a bij. Immediately there is a bij. But now, just by sowing the bij, it doesn't work. The mali, the gardener has to every day water the seed, right? So how to water the seed? Now all of us, just by coming here, participating in this kind of discussion, that bij, that seed, Bhakti Lata is already planted into your heart. But it will not give the fruit just like that. So now it is our duty that we daily water that seed. So what is that water? So it has been explained, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains, Taha vistarita hana phale prema phal iha mali seche nitya shravanadi jal. So he talks about every day you have to pour the water, jal. What is the jal? Nisechan. Nisechan means you have to nourish that seed, water the seed. So that seed is shravanadi jal. Every day you have to hear. That is daily watering the seed. And in the due course what happens? That seed will start fructifying and that seed will also give you the fruit. So Prabhupada actually explains in the purport itself, if you read carefully. Let me just go back to the purport. And he says, here. The spiritual plant of devotional service gradually grows and grows until it penetrates the covering of the material universe and enters into the Brahma Jyoti effulgence. in the spiritual sky. In the spiritual sky, also the plant grows more and more until it reaches the highest planet, which is called Golok Vrindavan, the supreme planet of Krishna. Ultimately, the plant takes shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna and rests there. So that is where that is what is your ambition and aspiration, that you had to keep watering the seed. Sometimes people have this kind of misconception that so far you are neophyte initially when you are learning all this Krishna consciousness. So till then you have to chant. Later you can just give up chanting and you just be in absorption of Krishna. But that is not what the instruction given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He says till the end you have to keep watering, and then it start fructifying, and this Bhakti Lata start growing further and further, and it penetrates the material sky. So you go and penetrates from this material world and you go to the spiritual world, and in spiritual world also there are innumerable planets, spiritual planets. In that also you still continue watering by chanting, hearing, and then until you reach the topmost Vaikuntha planet, which is Golok Vrindavan, the supreme planet, Krishna's planet. And when you reach at the lotus feet of Krishna and you rest there, and there you are engaged in the loving devotional service. So it can be attained just by hearing about Krishna, daily hearing. So how we can hear? When we chant this Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is hearing, daily hearing. Every day, those who are not started, these are sincere request to everyone. Please start chanting this Maha Mantra. Is very, very powerful. It will take you penetrating this material sky, the layers of this material sky, and take you all the way to Krishna. And also read the wisdom, the Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. So this is daily hearing, Shravana Adi Jal. And Bij is already given to us. Keep doing this. And by doing that, we can reach to Krishna. And by hearing this, what happens? Okay, you have to give me one beat. So last one I'll quote. This is from the 11th canto, which also explains the glories of hearing Krishna Katha. Thank you. So it says, so this particular verse says, Parasparanukathanam Pavanam Bhagavadashaha. So when somebody is Parasparanukathanam, today's verse here saying, Bodhyantasya Parasparam. Bhagavatam is also talking the same thing. Parasparanukathanam and Pavanam, it is very, very auspicious. Talking about Krishna in the association of devotees. And then what happens? Mithorati mitatustir nivrati mitatmanaha. So one should learn how to associate with the devotees of the Lord by gathering with them to chant the glories of the Lord. This process is most purifying. Just by hearing in the association of devotees, it is pavanam. It is very, very purifying. And also, a devotee thus develop their loving friendship. They feel mutual happiness and satisfaction. So rati, tusti and nivrati. These are the byproducts of hearing Krishna Katha in the association of devotees. So you derive a lot of satisfaction, tusti, and that we are reading here also. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Bhagavatam also confirming this. Rati. Rati means attraction towards Krishna. Can somebody take care of the child? Tell them to go to some other room. Okay. So Rati means there's a lot of attraction towards Krishna just by hearing about Krishna. Satisfaction in the heart just by hearing about Krishna. And then Nivrittamita Atmanaha. And you become completely free from all the suffering. So that is the power of this Bodhyantasya Parasparam. So we should consciously meditate, contemplate whether this Bodhyantasya Parasparam is happening in our life or not. Machitta Madgata Prana. If we don't hear about Krishna Katha, we'll be forced to hear about Gramya Katha. You cannot be escaped. So one thing is you hear Krishna Katha and you go to Krishna, you hear Gramya Katha and remain entangled into this cycle of repeated birth and death. Choice is ours. So any intelligent, any sane person should make the right choice. Right? So that is why Prabhupada says that I have opened my temples to give the opportunity to the people for doing this Bodhyantasya Parasparam. That was one of the prime motto of opening the centers that Prabhupada was mentioning. That otherwise in the outside world there is no opportunity for the people to talk about Krishna. So devotees can come here and they sit and discuss, read, ask your questions, and by mutual discussion, we nourish each other. So please make sure that if you are not reading daily, start reading. You can start with a small, step like reading daily 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We conduct some calls also where you can come in the association of devotees, and it will become easy for you to read and hear. So we have some calls in the morning, early morning, 6:45 a.m. In the evening, 8:30 every day evening, we have some call where we read together. So take the advantage, opportunities of all such things, and then plug yourself into all this. Bodhyantasya Parasparam, and then Tushyantija Ramantija. Drive the satisfaction and the pleasure by doing this Krishna Gada. Okay? Any comment or any questions? Anybody has anything to add more? Yes. That is what is the Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, the Krishna Katha is very, very rare. Pure Krishna Katha is very rare. It is mentioned already. No, it is Brahmanda Brahmidekho and Bhagyavan Jeev. It is very rare to get the right seed. So yeah, this is the unfortunate part of this modern age. That is why once we understand all of this, then make the right choice. We go to the right people. Those are the pure devotees, unmotivated, Nivritta Tarshir, like Srila Prabhupada. And see, it does not mean that you have to every time to hear, you have to come here only. Of course, you can come here all the time. But also when we read the books of such people, like such personalities like Prabhupada, then you are doing Bodhyantasya Parasparam. You are hearing from Prabhupada. You are hearing from a person who is a Mahabhagavata, who is a pure devotee, who is Nivritta Tarshir. So we can take the advantage of such opportunities, grab some books, keep at home, and make the point that every day you spend some time with your family members. Read that. If it is not working out by your own self, then plug into some of the calls which the temple is conducting, and then you will understand better and better. And then you will realize what is important. Yes. So yes, no doubt it is rare, but it is still not like it is impossible. Any other question or any other comment? Anyone? Okay, so no questions. Anybody is coming first time? Please raise your hand. Where is the special gift for you? Anybody is visiting first time? Okay, so welcome to Krishna Balram Temple, and please collect your special gift from the counter there. Some Matajis are there, so please don't miss out your special transcendental gift. Okay, so now we'll chant one round of Hare Krishna mantra together, and after that we'll be having the arti and singing some kirtans, and afterwards we'll be serving prasadam for everyone. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram